distribution in soil aggregate soil fractions in Ile-Ife, southwestern Nigeria. Soil is a major sink for carbon, and as we know, as CO2 is one of the major greenhouse gases that is responsible for this global climate change. And proposals have been made on the mechanism of stabilization of soil carbon in soil. And three major mechanisms are recognized. One is that aggregates serve as a barrier between carbon in soil and microbes. And also, the second is that many organic carbons are recalcitrant in soil and are not readily biodegradable, while the other one says process of sorption, precipitation, and complexation of these organic carbons prevent them from being degraded. Because the role that soil plays in the sequestration of carbon is that plants take up CO2 in building their structure, therefore withdrawing carbon dioxide from the atmosphere. Eventually, when the plants, when they die, they go into the soil and the carbon are incorporated into the soil. But this is a temporary measure of removing CO2 from the atmosphere, because eventually most of these dead plant debris are degraded and the CO2 are released again and they go back into the atmosphere. So any measure that can keep this carbon within the soil for a very long time will help in mitigating the atmospheric carbon dioxide. So this study is designed to look into what are the fractions of aggregates in the soil that best protect organic carbon in soil, and also to look at what are the land use methods that, that can also protect carbon in soil. So this study was conducted, the sampling was done at the teaching and research farm of my university in Nigeria, and 7 land use types were selected. Forest, soil samples were taken from under forest, cacao plantation, teak plantation, oil palm, pasture, no tillage, and continuous tillage farm. And the analysis was done at the Institute for Soil Ecosystem, CNR, in Pisa, Italy. And we look at the organic carbon distribution in the different aggregates. We also look at nitrogen distribution within the different aggregates, and also look at the stability of the aggregates under wet sieving. And also we look at compare the carbon-nitrogen ratio of the different carbons. So this table presents the soil texture, the pH, and the clay content, the contents, according to the different land use. The topsoil and the subsoils were considered separately. And this shows the organic carbon distribution under different land use. And here we could see that the forest had highest distribution of storage of carbon, followed by oil palm, cacao, teak. However, the subsoil of oil palm plantation had more carbon compared to other land use types. Then also expectedly, the continuous cultivation farmlands had the least concentration of organic carbon, because the constant turning over during cultivation exposed the organic carbon to microbial activities, which decomposes and releases carbon dioxide back into the atmosphere. This is the nitrogen distribution, also followed a similar pattern. Although here, teak, the soil under teak had a similar distribution as the forested soil. So we now look at the carbon nitrogen distribution as influenced by the land use type. Higher, the theory here is that when you have a high carbon nitrogen distribution, that means that more of the nitrogen has been used, and it's an evidence of a degraded soil where the microbes has released more of the nitrogen in trying to decompose the organic material. So we can see the forest had the lowest carbon nitrogen ratio, while the continuous cultivation farmland also had one of the highest carbon nitrogen ratio. Then we look at the distribution of carbon, organic carbon, in the aggregate size fractions. Here, the aggregate size that are less than 0.05 mm had the highest storage of organic carbon. And also, we compare the cultivated and also the uncultivated farmland. You see that the cultivated generally had the least, even under the different aggregate size fractions. Also telling us that even the different aggregate fractions, the ability to protect carbon also depends on whether they are subjected to cultivation or whether they are left under continuous forest. While the second graph also compares, for the subsoil, shows a similar trend in the subsoil. Then this is a distribution of total nitrogen in the topsoil and also the subsoil within the different aggregate size fractions. Also, the lower size, the lower the aggregate size, the more they're able to protect the nitrogen and the carbon in the soil. Then here we're looking at the carbon nitrogen ratio. Like we said, it's an evidence of the ability of the aggregates to protect organic matter, organic carbon in the soil. The lower the carbon nitrogen ratio, the more the ability of the soil to protect. Here we could see that the aggregate size, the macro-aggregates with size between 0.25 and 0.5 had the highest carbon nitrogen ratio under the uncultivated soil, while the finer aggregate sizes also protected more. A similar thing was also repeated in the subsoil. Then this compares the stability of the different aggregate size fractions and under the different depths. Here we could see that the aggregate size, the macro aggregates with size between 0.25 and 0.5 had the higher, more stable. The higher the sizes, the less stable the aggregates. We could explain, this could be explained by kind of fractal dimension. The lower the sizes, and the more, the stronger they become. And therefore, they are also able to protect the carbon and prevent them from being readily decomposed. Here is the stability of the aggregates as influenced by land use types. You can also see that the forest, the aggregates were more stable. The aggregates under forest were more stable, even within the different size fractions. And while the continuous cultivated, continuous tilled soil had the least stability, followed by no tillage, but continuously cultivated. A similar thing was also, a similar trend can also be seen under the subsoil. Here, trying to draw a relationship between the soil organic matter and the stability, well stable aggregate of the subsoil. And here we could see that there was a positive correlation between the soil organic matter and aggregate stability within the different aggregate sizes However, at the topsoil, within the subsoil, the correlation was not that very strong, showing that some other factors are more responsible in the subsoil for the stability of the subsoil aggregates. In conclusion, expectedly, tillage and cultivation reduce the organic matter contents of the soil, while the carbon nitrogen ratio are consistently lower in the fine particle size fractions. It's an indication of a lower decomposition rate and suggests that these fractions are able to protect soil organic matter within the soil, and also that the water stability of the soil aggregates were mainly mediated by organic carbon. Thank you.
We have time for one or two burning questions.
So you have done the organic carbon. Do you distinguish between the natural and the fertilizer or anthropogenic added organic carbon?
Please come again.
This organic carbon is natural or it is from fertilizers and other things? Can you able to distinguish that?
Whether the organic, whether it is natural.
Only natural.
Sorry.
No,
the organic, these are natural carbon within the soil. The sources are majorly plant.
Okay, because you are talking about tillage, agriculture, so I thought it is also addition, anthropogenically added.
Sorry.
Is it the demand is adding some? Is there any addition that the demand is doing to the?
No, there's no addition. We are just looking at them under the natural conditions. Under the natural conditions, there is no extra addition of organic carbon, organic matter. So.
What is the correlation between carbon and nitrogen? So what is it? What do you use as an index? So how is that the nitrogen is translating the availability?
Yes,
of
the carbon and nitrogen for microbes to be able to decompose when you get to when the carbon nitrogen ratio gets to about 20, then it becomes very difficult for microbes to decompose the material because the microbes need nitrogen in their protoplasm. And if the nitrogen is not present, then they will not be able to decompose the organic matter. So normally when you have when microbes when they decompose organic matter and now the nitrogen content reduces, then you know that the carbon has been worked on by microbes until the extent that the nitrogen there is lacking. Then they are not able to continue with the process of decomposition.
Yeah, but in one of the slides you were mentioning that also you can lose carbon if you have minerals, right? Minerals, you have also one system, one mechanism how you can trap it, right? So is that like a complementary or
Yeah. The mechanism is number one, the structure the soil can protect, and by screening the fresh materials away from the microbes. Then the second one is that you can have some minerals can absorb these organic carbons, preventing them from being mineralized. So the key is that once the microbes are not able to break down this organic carbon, then they will not release CO2 back into the atmosphere.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.